we go. Hello, welcome to episode 410 of the Self-Help Podcast with me, Ed Lamb, and my good pal Sean Orford. How are you, Sean?
I'm fine. I'm just wiring things up here so that I don't go dead halfway through.
Getting set up. Apparently when the YouTube version of this, we're kind of looking in opposite directions to each other rather than at each other side by side. So although I might have set it up so that it kind of flips between the cameras as we talk. I'm trying some new stuff today. What's the worst that could go wrong? This isn't episode 500 blog. Sean, you sent your blog post through with 500, but we're not quite there yet.
It just feels like it's 500. It must have said 409. I read it as 499.
We got some way to go. Oh yeah, over a year. We'll get there though, won't we? We'll get there.
We'll get there.
I mean, there's going to be a lot of things happening between now and then in the coming year and a half. But it's been a strange time on planet Earth, and in the UK right now, people are kind of coming out of hibernation as lockdown restrictions are easing quite rapidly in the UK, aren't they?
Yeah, and it's fascinating to see. I like watching people's faces. You know, it's like the ooh.
Well, yeah. We'll come on to that in a bit. I haven't ventured outside yet. It's Tuesday as we record this, and yesterday was when shops opened and pubs outside and all that stuff. So I might venture out later or tomorrow and see what's what. Before we do, a little reminder: liveinthepresent.co.uk. All the show notes and links. Get yourself some free meditation files. Discount code for the Live in the Present book if you sign up to the mailing list as well. So go for it with that. What's new, Sean? How are you doing? How's life?
Well, as you know, someone T-boned my car, and it went into the doctors yesterday. They picked it up and took it off in the car ambulance, you know. Uh-huh. And then I had to go down and pick up the courtesy car. Now I go down there, and there's all these cars parked in the car park, and in the middle is this bright orange Corsa. And I've always hated bright orange cars. I was thinking, oh my God, they're awful. You know, why would you buy a car like that? So they said to me, we need you to just take this car for a couple of days and then we'll switch it for another one. And I said, yeah, fine. So they took me out in the car park, and guess which one was mine? It was the tangerine coloured Corsa. And it's like, oh my God.
Oh, the shame. Yeah. That's not too much for your street cred, hey?
No. Makes you look like a bit of a tout, but it's a beast. It's only done 3,000 miles, this car, and when I popped it on the motorway, it made a roaring sound like a boy racer, and off it went.
It didn't nothing to do with you flooring, putting your right foot to the floor, I'm sure.
I was just experimenting, officer.
I want to give a quick shout out to my gorgeous wife. We celebrated 11 years of marriage over the weekend, so it's our second anniversary since all the restrictions have been in, and so the big one last year, 10 years, we've kind of just gone into lockdown really. So
wow.
Thanks for the bottle of bubbly, Sean and Marie. If you're listening better now, we'll take you to Paris on the train at some point in the next 3 or 4 years, hopefully, if we're allowed to, eh?
Yeah, if we're allowed to.
I'm conscious that we do have people listening around the world, actually, so I don't want to rub it in too much, because, in fact, I've got a friend in Canada who I was chatting with online yesterday, and he's just gone back into some quite serious restrictions because the cases are spiking over there. Everyone's at a different level in terms of vaccinations and how they've handled it and where things are up to. So if you're listening to this, in another part of the world and you're still not able to do anything, then
Well, I was online to Qatar first thing, and they've gone into another total lockdown with curfews.
Wow.
So things aren't looking good there.
No, I mean, in the UK, we had a very serious spike over the winter in terms of infections and deaths, but we have brought it massively under control, and we've combined that with going heavily down the vaccination route, which at the moment is paying off nicely. In terms of it's fascinating from a psychological point of view, which we can discuss now, because life's been so strange and so different for the last year, and this winter in particular, that I guess this time of year in spring, this is when people are used to kind of venturing out more anyway. But this year we've got it added into the mix, the fun and games, thanks to this virus. So how are people coping, Sean?
Well, it starts off with me actually seeing crowds of people yesterday, queuing up and stuff like that. And it's the joy on people's faces. People have got this kind of woo look about them, which is quite extraordinary. It's quite lovely. We talked about the new fish shop down in Haswell, no, West Kirby, and they were serving great, enormous platters of paella that they were serving that looked absolutely amazing, and just seeing people queue up for this food outside and just watching the looks on people's faces, it's quite stunning.
Yeah.
You know? So we got two lots. We got the lot that can't wait to get out and they're having a good time, and the lot that are like, it's too early yet, not me. Oh, kids have gone back to school. Oh, it's going to be hell and damnation, you know. So we got the two sides going at the moment.
Well, the virus will have the final say, and it's going to be fascinating to keep an eye on all that stuff. But restrictions have been lifted. Let's assume that we're all going to be nice and safe and follow the rules, or mostly at least. I mean, like I said, this time of year spring is when people do start to venture out anyway. So is this more? Can this be more of a general episode about what we need to do in spring to kind of like reintroduce ourselves to society?
Yeah, I think that we're in the same situation we would normally be in the spring, but it's got knobbed on because we've had the COVID thing. So people have tended to be locked down for longer than they would have been in the winter anyway, because people don't go out. I mean, we know that in the winter, people's vitamin D levels drop, their serotonin levels drop, people start to get more depressed, and then they start eating carbohydrates to get their brain to secrete serotonin, and they put on weight. And we've done all that, but we've done it hugely. People have put it. I mean, you're like a stick. I'm like a stick with benefits, but lots of people have put on average stone, 2 stone. The amount of people that said to me, "My clothes don't fit me anymore. I'm going to have to get these old ones out of the cupboard."
I read yesterday, or saw it on the news. Apparently, the average dog, it can't be the average pet because I've got guinea pigs and I don't think they'll be put. They might put a bit on, but the average dog has put on half a stone even because they've not been getting as much exercise, which I don't know is a bit weird really, because we've been able to go for walks the whole time and stretch our legs. So, but obviously our routines, maybe it's that little change or drastic change in routine that has just affected us all, and dogs included.
But the biggest problem that you get is that you get the depressive effect of winter, but it's been elongated, so that the levels of depression, and when people get depressed, they may not have so obvious symptoms, but very often it's like it's a lack of motivation. They suddenly feel like can't be bothered, and that's really depression. It's the kind of the beginning of it. So normally at this time of year, I'd see people that were pretty kind of down. In a normal year, if we've had a lousy winter, by the time we get to February, I've got people queuing out the door because they're depressed. This year has just been depression right the way through, and it's still going on now. So it's like it's so important at this moment now that we grab this opportunity. The sun's starting to shine. We need to get out and be in it. And yes, we need to be socially distant. We need to be sensible and all that kind of stuff. But we need to get out of doors and go and do stuff. We need to move our bodies. We need to get the sun on our skin.
We do, yeah. And it's kind of strange weather. It's gone a bit chilly again. Well, in the northwest at least. And I think I saw some photos yesterday when kind of pubs reopened, a lot of which was outdoor dining only and drinking, which is kind of quite a cool little change that I think will benefit places that we inhabit, because there'll be a bit more vibrancy in our streets. But I think it was snowing and hailing quite a bit in some places, so people were huddled underneath umbrellas, like trying to stay out of the snow as they drank the had their pint or whatever it was. So
yeah. Have the shaking hand because of the cold, not the lack of alcohol.
Yeah. But there are a few kind of general things that we usually talk about in the show in terms of getting our mood up. And we'll start with food, really, because food in the wintertime all year round can have not just a physical impact, but a mental impact. It can be something, the go-to thing to kind of keep your mood up. So at this time of year, what kind of food or what kind of diet should we be having?
Well, we need to be steering away from the carbs. People become carb heavy in the winter because carbohydrates make the brain secrete serotonin, makes you feel better. But it's like if in the winter, or if over this period in COVID, however long that's been for you, you started craving more carbs like biscuits, crisps, comfort foods, pastas, all that kind of stuff. It's because your system is saying to you, I'm depressed, and you're self-medicating with the carbs to get the serotonin. That's what we're doing. And we need to change that round so that we are getting the hit on our brain by moving our bodies and going out in the sun rather than sat at home watching the telly and eating crisps. That's the big one we've got to do. And if you are going to go to the pub out there and it's going to be outside, why don't we do the kind of thing where even if we take the car, we park the car and then we go for a walk to the pub, so you can have your meal and have your pint or whatever. But it's like, try and build in the pub and the meal at the end of it's like a reward for doing the work, and that makes it really good. Then it makes it work.
It does, yeah. I mean, I guess this plays into my stuff really, but a lot of people still do have time on their hands in terms of they might still be furloughed or working a bit less than normal, or they might have that time where they're not commuting like an hour each end of the day, so they're working from home. So I mean, you can walk a long way in an hour. So I know people that have started commuting on foot. I go on about bikes all the time, but walking, you can gobble up a lot of ground in an hour, in half an hour. So I mean, it's a good idea to challenge yourself, or just to kind of try and get in that habit of walking for half an hour, and you can get a couple of miles in that time easily, and finding that pub that's 2 miles away or whatever it is, or 3 or 4 miles away, and rewarding yourself with a food and drink at the other end.
That's really, really important. And being able to get out, it's all the things that everyone's been talking about. It's like the need to get social, the need to start to see other people, to talk again. And it is so different when you see people face to face as opposed to on a screen. And I think that some people have lost that magic. They're so used to doing the screen, and some, if they're anxious about going out and doing the face to face, that can be a bit tough. But once you get out and you start doing it, it's like, wow, it's incredible. One of the hardest things that I think people are going to find once they start doing it is not hugging people. It's like, okay, we do the elbow kind of thing rather than actually engaging like we did. And maybe it's going to take some time before we feel normal doing that kind of stuff again.
Yeah, I mean, I was out last week doing a bit of work. I met up with someone to do a little bit of filming in an outdoor location, and typically when I meet someone work related, we'll shake hands, on arrival, and we didn't shake hands, obviously, but we didn't even think about it, and I didn't even kind of apologize for not shaking hands, because I think we're at that stage now where subconsciously we're past the point of even apologizing for not shaking hands. It was just like, we don't do it anymore. So I wonder how long that will take to kind of reverse, if at all, or if shaking hands will become, there'll be another way of acknowledging someone. I know obviously in the Far East, maybe it might be a bit more about a little bow or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
When that guy crashed into me the other day, and I got out the car, and I was talking to his mum, because his mum was in her 80s. She was upset and whatever. But I suddenly realised that all of us had stopped socially distancing because we were attending, and he and I actually did shake hands. it was like, okay, let's go sort it.
Yeah.
And it was only afterwards that I realized we'd done all that. And I suppose the shock of the moment and the emergency meant that we weren't thinking like that. We just stepped over it. But it also made me realize how easy it is to forget.
Yeah.
I think it was on the last pod I was saying that we'd been sat outside a shop. We were waiting for something, and we watched over 20 people go into this shop without masks on, the spa. And I'm thinking, is it the people now? I think, yeah, who cares?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't go in shops that much anyway, and so my life hasn't changed all that much. But I haven't noticed that level of rule breaking in terms of law breaking, not wearing a mask indoors. So yeah, it'd be fascinating to. I wonder if it's certain parts of Wirral or certain parts of the UK where it's mask wearing is higher or lower, and I wonder what the reasons are for that. It'd be fascinating, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think some people do feel inhibited by it, and there are people obviously that have asthma and stuff like that, and it makes it difficult. I think some people feel controlled by it. Like someone's telling them, you must do this, and they're thinking, how comes you can tell me what I must do? And they're saying, no, I'm not going to wear it. It's like a point of principle. I'm not going to wear a mask.
Yeah,
it's what floats your boat, I guess.
Yeah. So in terms of getting our energy back up as well and coming out of hibernation, exercise is a big one. I on the news yesterday, I was watching it. I was working at home, and there was a lady. No, it was this morning actually. Sorry, a lady on an exercise bike in a gym.
Yeah.
And she was kind of saying she was obviously it's BBC, so like she'd been prepped and she was ready to go and all that. And but she was saying, oh, it's great to be able to exercise again. And and she was in a gym on a bike which didn't move. So obviously for me, I was thinking that's so weird. Why don't you just go get a bike and go for a bike ride last year? What have you been doing? So, but do you think our relationship with exercise has changed in the last 6 months, 12 months in terms of how? I know that a lot of people will be looking forward to getting back to the gym because that's their kind of habit. Or do you think people will have realized that they don't need a gym to keep fit and that they can do stuff at home or within a?
Yeah, I think a lot of people will have realized that. I think that the other thing is, and it isn't just Peloton, that you can get other bikes and other systems.
Yeah.
But I think that whole kind of Peloton mindset where you've got something in your house that you can all use and you've got a screen so you can go on screen and do it is something that I've heard people saying to me, well, the amount of money that I spend on the gym, if I buy the Peloton and then I pay the monthly thing to do that, then it's not any different. And I'm at home doing it, and for the same fee, the whole family can use it, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, there are, I don't want to wash over it too easily because there are social benefits to going to a gym and being a part of that kind of scene. And, there's obviously group sessions you can do with your mates and all that, which is that, I wouldn't want to replace that at home, because I know Peloton is trying to, because you have a big screen in front of you, don't you?
Yeah.
You're getting G'd on by some trainer and people around the world, which is, again, interesting. But yeah, I mean, there is a social side to exercise as well, isn't there?
Yeah. And when you see people running, the amount of people that run in pairs and they are having a good talk as they're trotting along, is quite common, isn't it? I actually found that I'm a bit of a lone runner, really, because when you run with someone who talks to you, they kind of distract you from what you're doing. It's like I ended up having to not use music when I'm running because it just gets in the way. It's easier just to go and do it and be with it,
to focus. But I mean, for those people listening, maybe who haven't been getting any exercise either because the gym's closed or just because they don't anyway, now's a good time to get out and stretch your legs one way or another, and do some physical work, get your heart rate up, eh?
Yeah, and I think that the whole idea of 10,000 or 15,000 steps a day it is a good reality to work for. And it does make a huge difference. And there is a difference between strolling your 10,000 steps or kind of doing it meaningfully. You don't have to do it like it's a route march and like, I got to get it done. Yep. You know, but it is good to kind of get your heart rate up. That's the key.
It's very good. Yeah. And well, we go out for family bike rides quite a bit, you know, just to get places. And Beth and my wife was a bit annoyed because we cycled like 3 or 4 miles a couple of weeks ago, just kind of running a few errands and stuff with the kids. And she was gutted because she got back home and then checked her stats on her watch or whatever it was, and she had like 11 minutes of exercise. Because when you're riding at the pace of a 6-year-old, you know, you're not getting any exercise in terms of actually getting your heart rate up higher than normal. So
yeah.
But there are go on, sorry.
I was going to say, so does that mean that she's got to go out and do stuff on her own as well?
Well, yeah, ideally, yeah. I mean, she goes for walks now after work when she gets back from school, and goes for a proper walk, and then like really gets going, and yeah, it does make a difference. But there are other benefits to getting out walking or riding beyond the exercise, and it's kind of just exploring the streets near you, and see, you never know, you might kind of bump into or wave to, or what you might learn.
One of the things that we found is in going for walks, and we did it the other day, the weekend, was like we're walking in places that we didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
You know, and being able to enjoy parts of Wirral and see areas like, wow, I never knew this was here. You know?
Yeah.
And that's been a real treat, a real joy to discover where we are. Yeah,
I know. Well, we just found one at the weekend, courtesy of the in-laws. There's a footpath just off the Wirral Way near Hadlow Station in Williston, and it takes you cross country through a farmyard actually, and then it kind of pops you out near Goredale, you know, the garden centre there.
Oh wow!
So, but you wouldn't, there, you know, there's proper little metal gates, and there's little signposts, but you had no idea it was there, and it's just a beautiful. It takes you past some gorgeous houses and this little farmyard where there's some alpacas where you can say hello to them and all that.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, you don't learn these things, do you, normally by when we're whizzing around, kind of getting stuff done, getting to see people and getting to work and all that. So
I think that the other thing at the moment is when you're out now and you're seeing the trees come into leaf and into bud and the rich colours of the green, and you got all the insects starting to come up and the birds are nesting, and you know, and there's a lot going out there on there in nature when you're out there observing it, and not least of all the smells. One of the things I'm always aware of when I'm on a bike, I didn't know it's on my motorbike as well, but when you're in a car, all you smell is the car. When you're outside in the air, you smell what's going on around you. Someone's cutting the grass, you can smell it. Someone's got a bonfire over there, you can smell it. You know, but you can smell the trees, and it's really fascinating when you get out there and you do it. It's lovely.
Talk about living in the present. Yeah, it's one of the. You're right. My lad, my eldest, was he sniffed some cut grass a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, "Oh, that smells brilliant, Dad. It means spring and summer's on the way. I love it."
Yeah. That's right, isn't it? It is. Yeah. I go for a walk sometimes when I have to do headphone sessions that are like phone rather than video. I'll actually go for a walk while I'm doing it. And I go down the bottom of Garden Hay Road and across the fields, and there's a guy there that plants broad beans, and as I walk around the field, a few of them slip into my pocket and into my mouth, and they're really nice fresh broad beans straight off gorgeous.
Love it. Have you got people that are kind of ready to book holidays and kind of itching to get away from it all?
Yeah. And it's the real problem at the moment, because you've got the pundits on the TV saying, do not book a holiday for this summer. You know, we do not know yet. And we don't know because of things like France is spiking up, Spain spiking up. We even have, although they're not shouting about it too much, we've got some areas of the UK where the South African variant is starting to spike up. Yep. You know, so we don't know. We don't know. And the likelihood is that most people are going to go for a staycation this year and stay in the UK or even stay at home.
Well, yes, you know, we've been having, you and I both actually been having proper holiday. I saw an advert on YouTube the other day, and it was saying treat yourself to a proper holiday, and the idea being that you have to get on a plane to have a proper holiday, whereas, you know, that kind of offends me because I've been having proper holidays in the UK since I was a kid, and you know, we're itching to get up to Northumberland as we always do, and I do want to explore further afield at some point soon, but you can have amazing proper holidays in the UK, can't you?
Yeah. And the UK is a beautiful place. From the wild bits in Scotland and Ireland, right the way through to in Northern Ireland. Southern Ireland is like Devon, and bits are really kind of rich, you know. And Devon and Cornwall, because I spent a lot of time down there over the years. Lovely places to be. You know, being up on Dartmoor and, you know.
Yeah, I never really explored down there, but I do remember I got off a train many years ago in Brighton, having boarded it in, well, I don't know, Liverpool, I assume. And it was like getting off into the south of France. The heat hit me when I got off the train. I just remember thinking, it is actually a lot warmer down here.
Yeah. Well, when I lived on the Isle of Wight, but I worked in North Wales, which sounds mad. But when I was going back at the end of each week, I was having to take layers off as I was going down. It could be like 7-degree difference sometimes. It's quite bizarre, but it is. In Torbay particularly, they got palm trees growing down there, or that kind of stuff. And on the Isle of Wight, I was growing grapes and passion fruit and stuff like that. They had a lemon tree, which fruited and lemons.
Nice. Yeah. The blog post talks about making love. So I'm interested to see whether there's going to be a baby boom, starting now-ish, or whether one has already started since we've all been locked away.
No. It's the reverse. What tends to happen is that if it's a bad winter, because people are stuck at home, then we get a baby boom because conceptions go up. Yeah. What's happened in lockdown is I think people have got quite stressed with each other, apart from anything else, and the levels of conception has gone down. We reckon that it can be really, really down. In a bad winter, the stats show that you get a spike of about 18%, but we're way down. You know, and they reckon in the US that this winter they've had the lowest level of conceptions for over 100 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating.
And that's the COVID effect. You know?
That is fascinating, isn't it? Because I would have thought the reverse. So is that just to do with like general energy levels in terms of how we're feeling about each other and ourselves?
I think that a very large percentage of our population have actually been depressed. I think we've had depression. It may not be that kind of overt clinical depression. You know, we all need to go and get happy pills. But I think generally people have just gone, yeah. And I guess it's hard to feel kind of attracted to someone who sat there going, you know. And if you're both sat there like it, you know, then it's like, you need to go to bed, you know. And so it's not very kind of woo, is it?
Yeah. Well, let's see, man. Now's the time, I guess. I mean, the blog also talks about speeding up, and it's interesting because a lot of our talk on this show and self-help stuff in general is about slowing down, you know, meditating and getting your heart rate lower and chilling out a little bit, and not, you know, trying to push back against like the frantic nature of like civilization. But now, are we saying now is a good time actually maybe to speed up and get going?
But the thing is that there's a key in that. You can speed up and calm down at the same time. Yeah. What's happening at the moment is people have got the I can't be asked kind of feeling. And it's like, it takes willpower to get out of the chair and go out the door. And it's like, when you come back from the walk, most people go, oh, I'm really glad I did that. That was good. You know, when I left to do it, I didn't really want to do it, but I thought, well, coming back, I'm really glad I did.
Yeah.
And it's getting that willpower bit going so that we start to speed up and do all those things. One of the other things is the amount of people that are out at the moment painting, mending, doing all kinds of stuff. And it's like, how many lists of jobs have we got, things that need to be done in, around the house, the garden, whatever. And it's like, okay, the winter is over. You know, it's been a bit frosty for a few nights. Okay, it's changing, it's moving. You know, let's grab what we've got and get on with it. You know, it's important.
It is. So do you think people are ready then? Do you think it's going to be we're going to be have a wild and wicked month or two?
Yeah, I think that once we know that the sun is here and it's got us, then I think we'll be out in it, you know, and being out in the garden. You can't overestimate the power of vitamin D. And the most powerful source of vitamin D is get it on your skin, get the sun on your skin, get it working. Yeah, and if you are really low in vitamin D and you need to take things like supplements, okay, you've got to take supplements. But if you do things like you get bog standard mushrooms from the supermarket and you just line them up on the windowsill, they will absorb sunlight like a sponge, and they absorb all the vitamin D, and then you can eat the vitamin D from the mushroom. There's all kinds of things you can do like that to get your D up.
Nice.
And it's weird because in the kind of Ayurvedic world, things like vitamin D, which is actually seen as a hormone, not a vitamin in that system, this has been known for thousands of years. And it's like in the West, we're only really just getting our head around the importance of vitamin D. Because a lack of vitamin D is a precursor to so many disease situations. You know, it's crazy. But it's like, we need to get up, get out. We need to lose the weight we put on. You know, if you put on a stone or two, you can lose 3 pounds a week. Just get out and go and move. Do it. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
You know, so by the time we get to next winter, and we're actually healthy and we're up and at it. Because if we don't and we go right through this summer, what are we going to be like when we get to next winter? You know, and it's like it goes down. You know, we need to be getting up. It's party time.
I agree, definitely, and you can get it all these things in one go, can't you? If you're walking somewhere, you're outside in the sun, so you're getting your exercise, you're getting your vitamin D, you're reconnecting with people around you, and then you can go sit in a restaurant outside in the car park or wherever, and you can get some good food in you as well, and walk or cycle back and get more exercise.
And I was talking to someone, and they were saying to me about how they used to go to the pub at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I said, how can you go to a pub at 8 o'clock in the morning? And they said, Wetherspoons, they're open for breakfast.
Yeah.
So, and these were kids on their way to college. And they were going in the spoons and having a few snifters before they went into college. And then nipping out at lunchtime, having a few snifters and going back.
Hey man, yeah, if you can keep on top of it all, yeah, why not? I guess you won't hear that on your average self-help show, will you?
Yeah, don't start drinking at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's not good.
Oh my gosh. Cool. All right, you've got a resource, Sean.
My resource is simply fun. You know, what is it that makes you feel good? Do more of it. You know, if there are things that make you smile and make you happy, well, the more you do it, then the happier you're going to feel, and the more you smile. You know, and we need to get out of this rut of being in the COVID negativity. Let's enjoy the spring. Yeah. Let's enjoy the spring and the summer. Let's have a good time.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to recommend a TV program called The Terror, which is absolutely awful, like really good, but like crazy, bleak, like horror story.
Perfect, ideal.
But loose recommendation. It is good, but yeah, just be aware that it's very, very bleak. A really good show. But I'm gonna scrap that, and I'm gonna just recommend something a bit more on theme, just to get invest in a good pair of shoes and or a bike, just to kind of just reconnect and just get out there.
I think that comment about shoes is really, really important. I have different shoes, and the amount of shoes that I can walk realistically a distance in is relatively few. I've got lots of shoes that look good and I can walk around the block in. If I want to do some serious walking, I need to put on certain kinds of shoes.
Yeah, actually,
got to get your shoes right. Yeah.
There's a brand called Vevo barefoot shoes that I have a couple of pairs of. They take a bit of getting used to because it's like walking in barefoot almost. They kind of got quite soft, and you can get.
Are we the 5-finger ones?
No, they're Vibram or Vibram. They are
Vibram. Yeah, I've got those.
Right. So Vevo, they look like normal shoes. They've got quite thin soles, and it's like walking barefoot. So a little bit of getting used to, but really comfortable. And you've got all sorts, walking boots. They've got outdoor running shoes and all that. So I'll link to that. They make some good stuff.
Yeah, I need to get my Vibrams out now that the sun's here, and go. I couldn't get. I tried to get running in them, couldn't quite get it. But there are some people that can run in Vibrams. I think it's okay if you're running on grass and that kind of stuff. It's if you're running on the hard surfaces, a bit hard.
Cool. All right, that was a good one, Sean. I'll leave you to it. Thanks for your time.
Keep smiling.
See you next week, everyone. All right, take it easy.
Okay, bye.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.